And then the exciting thing started happening when you discovered that, oh my god, this character could be the same actor. And the idea that you watch Adam Ewing go through this long journey, and at the end he makes this moral change where he says, you know what, I'm going to become an abolitionist and fight to free the slaves. Then you could do something interesting by having Heiju Chang play by Jim Sturgis, and in a way, you see the next part of the story because that's Heiju Chang becomes essentially an abolitionist who's helping to free the slaves, but in the future.
Right? I'm with the interview guy. Like, oh yeah, I am totally following this. Here's my I get what's going on nod. Yep, totally. I mean, it's juxtaposed. This is quite obvious what you're saying.
Right?
Gosh, just not Zack Snyder. Just not.
Right, very good.
So yeah, the power of NE, it's just like, I don't know, me as NI, it's just like, that's the one function I look at like, damn, what the hell is going on up there? Just, I get like having intuition of like, all right, yeah, I want to look behind the thing. I want to know the understanding.
Yeah.
I want to simplify it. I want to see the connections.
These two are the same. I'm connecting these two.
Yeah, and it's like okay, sure, I can deal with that, but like to not have it turn off, to have it run extrovertedly, which I can leverage that madness with my TE of like like I can't shut my brain off if you show me how to do a thing, like especially if it's mechanical or physical.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, my SETE sees, oh, you can put the lever this way, or why don't you put the clock around this way, or wind it around this
Your
way.
Your extroverted functions, yeah.
Can't shut that off,
right,
you know?
Right.
But like to have that with patterns and connections,
yeah,
you know, when you're reading, so like she's talking about like reading a story and going, okay, so these are boring and this is relating to this and that, and like, I can't even follow what the hell she's saying.
I know, right? One thing that I thought was very interesting, because I have used Sensorly, and I probably, like be careful about the sensory, but every time I usually am watching somebody go, oh, these two are the same, oh, these are the same, these are the same, a lot of times I've interpreted that as NI.
Yeah.
So when I was listening to the way she was saying it, I'm like, oh, that's more intuition, wants to take, like, to shit on the sensory, basically, and go, how are these two things the same? And then you would actually go to the human need of, I need it repetitive. I need it to always be the same pattern, or I want variety of patterns, but I'm still going to grab things in the sensory and go, how is this cloud like this tree? I'm going to make them the same because I'm going to just shit on the sensory and connect underlying patterns, underlying themes, underlying something abstract. You know? Anyways, just like you're saying, like, what is it that you're doing? And every time we get one of these, I feel like I'm understanding them more deeply.
Just straight fire hose of NE.
Right.
I know. Yeah.
Completely. Like, okay, here is a pure form. If you want to know what it's like, this would be one to watch.
You wouldn't type yourself Savor NE if you really knew what Savor NE was.
No, you wouldn't.
This read-through was the greatest read. Plus, the music was playing at the same time, and all of the actors began playing, and they started like getting really into it. And then because they went a little further, Jim Broadbent would go, and then Hugh Grant would go by, and then Tom Hanks wanted to up his performance, and soon we were hearing these variations and this life to the lines. And David Mitchell was actually sitting in the room, and he was listening to it, and it was over, and he looked at me. He's like, I cannot believe this. And we're like, what? He's like, I feel so inadequate as a writer. I heard Cavendish in my head when I wrote that line. I heard him say this in this one way, and then I just heard Jim Sturgis just riff on like 4 different versions of that line, and they were all better than the way I had it in my head. And they all, with such abandonment and courage and faith, they leapt into this movie.
What?
What is it that the OE function is doing? It does want to cause chaos. And of course, every OE is like, no, I don't. Of course I want certainty. And like everybody will tell you, I want certainty. I want certainty. So I'm going to go shake up the chessboard. Oh, I don't do that. And then you watch their life and you're like, I'm going to follow you around with a fucking clipboard.
They just don't know they're doing it. They just flat out don't know what they're doing. That's what I'm seeing more and more.
Completely. So I'm not even going to say this. It's like I'm saying this and going, you will not see it in yourself. There. This is not a resonate with conversation.
For example, literally on the break I was processing, like in the Zack Snyder class, where like we started, or no, it was like the Q&A or whatever.
Okay.
We started talking, it was a Q&A on OCD, right? I forget when that's going to air, but we just recorded it today, right?
Right.
Whatever. So the point is, like I'm still processing. This happened to me a couple hours ago.
Right.
We're doing a Q&A on OCD. And like while I'm talking, I'm reaching up and adjusting the camera.
Oh, yeah.
And then you make something about it. And then I realized that like I wasn't really aware that I was doing that.
Oh, I know. And I watch you do it every single time.
So
and I'm watching and going, You have to do that. Like you just your
I know.
Your body is it's like breathing.
I know. Like I am very, very aware that I'm OCD and I catch
unaware.
it and I catch it a lot.
Right.
But still, I'm not catching half of these.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying?
If you're not catching your functions I want to say it's less than 5 minutes.
Which you and I aren't.
No, hell no.
So that's what I'm saying is like referring back to the crazy ass EPs that are like, I want certainty. It's like you have no idea how much chaos you're causing. And it's just why it's like you get a video back or a recording back or your friends tell you about it. And you're like, no, what is that?
I know.
Who's that?
I know. Yeah. And it's funny. Well, that was just that one video.
It's really weird.
Fine. This is why I started telling people.
It's really weird.
Fine. Go video yourself 100 times in a row and desperately attempt to use the other function that you think you have. If you think you have save your NI, desperately attempt to only talk about one concept for hour on top of hour on top of hour on top of obsessive hour.
The function at the top is on such overdrive you can't see it, and then the function on the bottom is so unconscious you can't see it.
I know.
Generally speaking.
The
ones in the middle, usually people are doing pretty good.
That's true. That's true. But anyways, the destruction one, actually the words of destruction.
I get their logic. I get what they're like. I definitely get what they're doing. I'm gonna shake up the same old way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cause a little chaos to see what comes out, so we can find a better way.
Yeah, because the fear is, I mean, think about like what the
old way is routine and it's stale.
And now it's outdated, it's causing problems, it's stuck in their ways, and then we can't move forward, we can't grow, and then evolutionary speaking, we're not allowed to advance the species.
Just like FE, I get it, but like you're not gonna catch me deliberately doing that on my own just because I randomly feel like it.
Right, completely. If you have OE, your brain is designed to take the chessboard and shake it up, whether you see it or not.
Yeah.
Eisenstein's the very idea and the way that they teach, cinema. Here's a baby, here's an expression, here's a dead body, here's an expression. The juxtaposition creates performance all the time.
Did she just say that fucking word? God damn it, there it is. Fuck. So that's 4. I gotta look it up now.
Juxtaposition. It just means when two things...
That makes me so angry.
It just means when two things are next to each other. No, juxtaposition. Come on, English 101. What the fuck? You're not even trying. Juxtaposition. Jux. There you go. Yes, juxtaposition. It just means when two things are like,
the fact of two things being seen or placed close together with contrasting effect. Why would you use that word? What do you need to use that word for?
Contrasting.
Side by side contrast.
Like you're comparing different analogies.
Oh my God. I don't even want to know. I want to unconsume that. I don't want that word rattling around in here. Not to be responsible for it.
Now we're going to have to say that word all the time.